Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. The 8th House of Assembly may have been inaugurated, but for the people of Ado-Obadibo Federal Constituency in Benue State, there is no reason to celebrate yet. They're protesting the induction of Mr. Hassan Saleh as a member of the House of Representatives. The protesters barricaded the Makurdi-Enugu Expressway, alleging that Mr. Saleh presented fake documents at Tuesday's inauguration of the National Assembly.
Mr. Chris Abba was issued a certificate of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission as a member representing the Ado-Obadibo Federal Constituency in Benue State, as he was the sole candidate for the March 28, 2015 National Assembly elections. However, a court ruling nullified his election, allowing the incumbent, Mr. Hassan Saleh, to be sworn in on Tuesday as a member of the House of Representatives. While both parties headed for the court, the people of the constituency headed for the streets, barricading the Makurdi-Enugu Expressway. Bonfire, caravans and coffins were used to block the Otukpa access of the Federal Road while the police looked on. The people are protesting the swearing-in of Mr. Saleh as a member representing the constituency.
Obadibo local governments, Adon local governments, and Okoku local governments are also protesting over this.
Why the protest?
They are protesting because Chris Adababa is the man that represents Adon and Obadibo local government in federal house.
But the man in the eye of the storm insists that he is recognized as a member representing the constituency in the House of Representatives.
And INEC wrote a letter to the National Assembly stating that I am the duly elected, member of the national, from that constituency to the National Assembly.
Armed with the certificate of return issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission, the man who stood for the election, Mr. Chris Abba, disagrees with him.
Yeah, I understand he was sworn in wrongly because he never went into the National Assembly to do his documentation with any certificate of return, and the conditions are that you must have a certificate of return. So purely I know that he was there, and way and manner that he found his way doing his documentation and him being sworn in is the issues that we're trying to handle in court. I can understand and I sympathize with them because this mandate is theirs. But I still think that in as much as the certificate of return still remains with me, and INEC has asked me to return the certificate of return, that we have better options of resolving these issues legally than going on the streets.
While both parties have surrendered to the jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal, it is instructive for them to appeal to the protesters to vacate the Federal Road and allow free movement along that axis.
Justice Muazu Pindiga of the River State Election Petitions Tribunal, sitting in Abuja, has granted the requests of the All Progressives Congress and its governorship candidates in the April the 11th, 2015 governorship election to inspect materials used for the election. In the motion ex parte dated June the 3rd and filed on June the 8th, counsel to the party and its candidates, Mr. Olumide Olujimi, prayed the court for an order allowing the inspection of election materials related to the conduct of the election. He specifically asked the court to order the inspection of card readers and records of electoral materials used in all the polling units in the state, and also ordered a forensic analysis of the computers used for the polls. The APC in Rivers State and its candidates in the election, the Kukupita side, dragged INEC, the PDP, and the governor of the state, Mr. Nyesom Wike, before the tribunal to challenge his victory at the polls. Now, human capital development through information technology is considered a key area for investment in repositioning the nation's education system. And one of Nigeria's top lenders, Diamond Bank, seems to be taking steps in this direction. At a conference of vice-chancellors and administrators of tertiary institutions held at the Covenant University, Ota, Ogun State, the managing director of the bank, Mr. Uzoma Dozie, said the bank is ready to partner universities to encourage international best practices in education.
Nigeria is among countries losing a lot to education tourism. Decayed infrastructure, outdated curriculum, among other challenges, are largely responsible for this. Drawn from the academia, participants at this conference seek new ways to revamp the sector. The focus is on information and communication technology.
There couldn't have been a better time than now for Nigeria as a nation to sit up to address this challenge. To me, I see this conference as agenda setting for the new government, and believe you me, without revamping the education sector of this nation, the future looks bleak.
The challenge is put forward to financing, and Diamond Bank PLC has positioned itself as a strategic partner in this regard. The Group Managing Director of Diamond Bank foresees tertiary education that would be digital.
We believe that information is going to be the next basis for competitive advantage for all organizations or nations in the future. The country that manages, assimilates data, turns it into information, and uses it in its business or in their organization are the ones that are going to be sustainable in the future.
Everything is going digital. How can we possibly make our students competitive worldwide? What some of us ask is to give us the opportunity to compete with other institutions, to compete with our fellow candidates in anything we are doing. So we're investing in human resource, which I think is the best investment anybody can make.
A technology-driven learning process being encouraged by Diamond Bank is targeted at developing employable, experienced and courageous future leaders equipped with requisite international experience and exposure. Amen. The high point of the conference was the opening of the Future Ready University Experience Center by the bank.
The week began on a very interesting note with events at the National Assembly and the dramatic twists which led to the emergence of the leadership of the legislature, especially that of the upper chamber. The elected leaders do not conform with the wishes of the ruling All Progressives Congress and has caused what some might call a crack within the party, which the opposition PDP took advantage of. On our big story tonight, our political correspondent Sheung Okimbaloye takes a closer look at the events of that day and the possible implications moving forward. But we'd like to warn our viewers that the video you're about to watch contains flash photography.
10 o'clock in the morning of Tuesday, 9th June 2015.
We have 57 senators elect president, and the quorum is 38. So we shall proceed with the election.
That was how it all started. The clerk of the National Assembly calling for nominations for the position of a Senate President. At the time, just about half of the senators elect were present. The rest are here waiting for a meeting with President Buhari on resolving the stalemate over the leadership of the National Assembly within the APC. After the call for nominations, it was Senator Ahmed Sani Yarima from Zamfara State who stood to nominate Senator Bukara Saraki from Kwara Central.
I rise to nominate Senator Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki.
The senator began with reading a citation on Senator Bukola Saraki.
Abubakar Bukola Saraki, CON, was born on 19th December 1962.
By now, some of his other colleagues appear restless and fidgeting, indicating that the senator should round off. In essence, a consciousness of time, haste about the process. In another few seconds, he went to the last page until he ends his submission.
Senator Dr. Saraki is hereby nominated.
Without any more nominations, Senator Bukola Saraki was pronounced as the Senate President.
And the senator-elect, Senator Abubakar Bukola Saraki, is hereby returned as the President-elect for the Senate in 2015. Congratulations.
A jubilation of some sort, and euphoria which looks so much like a PDP triumph in a Senate where PDP is a minority with a population of 49 and the APC with 60 senators. 57 senators are said to be present. A possible 48 senators of the PDP and about 10 APC senators had their weight under exercise, a clear indication that the PDP may have prevailed.
Protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The news of the event at the chamber reached the venue where the other lawmakers who were absent at the proceeding, those who were waiting for the meeting with the president. Hurriedly and for some angrily, they make their way out.
No, I'm not talking more than that, but it's not elected.
The development has unsettled the ruling APC, and the ripple effect is fast splitting them. A few questions the scenario at the Senate has raised. Did the president actually convene the meeting? Why was the president absent at the meeting he was said to have called? Or the press statement from the party's publicity secretary, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, at about past 6 a.m. on the day serves as a notice to the affected persons. Did the pro-Saraki APC senators present when he was elected get an invitation for the meeting at the International Conference Center? It is also said that a communication was transmitted to the clerk of the National Assembly to move the time of the proceeding forward. How true is that? If so, did the clerk go ahead ignoring the president's request? A bigger question and a sharp reality now is that of the urgent need of quality governance. Barely 2 weeks since President Buhari was sworn in, it is expected that the legislative arm of government will swing into action fast to aid the work of the executive. But with the plans of the APC to seek redress in court and discipline its members, it said aired, to what effect will that be?
Talking about meting punishment on the leader of the parties and the leader in Senate who has become Senate president might be too costly for them to deal with.
An APC Senate president and a PDP deputy Senate president. Just how will this alliance play out?
I thought for me that portends a lot of interesting times in Nigeria. But it just shows how different parties can build different coalitions and how strength of character can determine the weight even against the will of a party.
You can see that as at now, things, have fallen apart. And it's too early. It's too early. We must be careful. There must not be a reincarnation, a reinventment of what happened during the Nigerian Governors Forum. We must prevent that.
It is expected that President Buhari will send in names of his cabinet members to the National Assembly in the coming days. And the anxiety of Nigerians, some of those who voted change increases, and even those who did not are also keeping close watch. How soon will the lawmakers settle in to real work to put aside all manners of bickering will be a task of utmost importance. For the big story, Seun Okimaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, insurance giant, Custodian and Allied Insurance PLC marks 20th anniversary. Stakeholders name leadership, among others, as essential ingredients for building sustainable institutions. To join us again.